This is Stephen, and it's September 9th, and I wanted to provide just a little bit of clarification, a little bit of explanation on the assignments, because there seems to be a little bit of confusion still going on. Now, in terms of due dates, typically assignment number 1, which is the reading review, is always going to be due by 5 o'clock on Sunday. I gave some leeway in terms of those assignments being due on Sunday at 5 for session 1 and session 2 because people were still working to try and get their text, as well as I was working to make sure that we could get scanned copies of the Cohen Chapter 1 and the Cohen Chapter 9 and 10 up and posted. Chapter 1 of Cohen for session 1 was available, and so session 1 material should have been posted. Any material posted after this point for Chapter 1 and Session 1 will be considered late, and I will need to deduct points. For Session 2, Chapters 9 and 10, those chapters, scanned versions of those chapters, I posted those a couple of days ago, so those are available and could and should have been read. They're relatively short chapters. But as I mentioned earlier, I will give leeway in terms of the posting of those. The summaries of those chapters are due by 5 o'clock on Monday, this coming Monday, September 10th. From here on out, from session 3 on forward, all assignment number 1 postings are due to be posted by 5 o'clock on the Sunday. And that, if you look at the schedule, the readings are listed under the session number, as example, session number 3. There are readings, there are 4 readings. They're all links to those. Those are all available. There's a Baccalaureate, Frankenstein, Sullivan, and class. Those are the readings that are to be done by next Sunday. Next Sunday, posted by 5 p.m. So typically, assignment number 1 postings are posted by 5 o'clock on Sunday, prior to the class session. Now, assignment number 2, which is your response to the IGQ that I post. Typically, the IGQ is going to be found on the last 1 or 2 slides of a PowerPoint, or if for some reason I don't do a PowerPoint, but do an agenda, I will clearly identify assignment number 2, IGQ. Those are to be posted, the response to those are to be posted no later than 2 days after I post my lecture. Typically, I will post the lecture on Sunday. So those are to be posted. Assignment number 2 is to be posted by Tuesday at midnight. Your response to your group mates, which is assignment number 3, is then to be posted by Thursday at midnight. So each week you will have 3 postings. Assignment number 1, Sunday at 5 p.m. Assignment number 2, which is posted by midnight on Tuesday, and assignment number 3 by midnight on Thursday. As I mentioned, weeks 1 and 2 of our class 380 are a little goofy just because we're just getting started and some people did not have their textbooks to begin with. So from this on point, unless there's an issue with you specifically, please let me know and I can work with you around any kind of contingencies. Now, in terms of what I'm looking for assignment number 1. Assignment number 1, and it can be written in any fashion that you are comfortable writing. Clearly, I'm looking for good grammar, correct spelling, punctuation, those types of things. Whether you use APA or some other format or just narrative, that really is up to you. For each reading, there needs to be at least 1 response or paragraph response. Now, you can combine it all into 1 longer paragraph, depending upon your style. So as example, for session 2, there should be a posting in assignment number 1 for the Cohen Chapter 9 and the Cohen Chapter 10. For session number 1, there should have been a posting for Cohen Chapter 1 and the Gilson and DePoy reading chapter that was posted. And so that's how it will fall out from here on out. Assignment number 2 really is how you write that is, it can be, it does not have to be an APA file unless that's what you're comfortable with. You can write in first person, you can write in any format or style that you are comfortable with. It can be, I think that, I understand this because. So I'm not looking for a typical reference format or response. I'd like to know your reasons for selecting your answer there or why. Now, then your response in terms of assignment number 3. That's your response to your group mates. How you organize your individual response for assignment number 3 is really up to you. You need to respond to at least one of the comments of one of your group mates in order to receive credit. You can respond to all of them, 3 or 4 responses. You can do it in one paragraph. You can make multiple responses to each one in terms of a link or following a particular thread. Whatever you're the most comfortable with. What I want to avoid, however, is your saying, I like what you read, or what you wrote, or I don't like what you wrote, or I disagree or agree. Give your justification, and you can clearly say, boy, I disagree, and this is why I disagree. Or I really liked what you wrote, and this is why I like what you wrote. So give the evidentiary basis, or the rationale, or the justification behind your response to your group mates. What happens with this is assignment 2 and 3 really take the format of serving as a small group discussion that you'll have in a typical in-classroom session. As such, it really is expected to be a dialogue, a conversation. And sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree. That's absolutely okay to have disagreements. I would expect, as your classmates would expect, that disagreement to be respectful. But we all have a variety and range of opinions. And so just state those. Again, every week, assignment number 1 is due by 5 o'clock on Sunday. Assignment number 2, Tuesday at midnight. Assignment number 3 is Thursday at midnight. Now, as you know, there are other assignments that we have for our class. They are some regular or periodic quizzes, and there are self-assessment quizzes. These fall under assignment number 4. We'll start those in a week or 2. What I'm going to use is use a judgment about seeing how people are understanding the information. Those typically, they are not graded, but they are required and to be completed by no later than 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. on Friday of the assigned reading. So, as example, if I was, and I have not decided that cases, but if I was to decide that we need to have a self-assessment quiz this coming week, it would be over Cohen Chapter 9 and 10, and then I would post that Wednesday. The quiz is generally going to be 4 to 5 questions. It's open book and open resource. It really is for you to be able to monitor how well you're learning the information. And so you take the quiz, post it, and the correct answers will be. That's assignment number 4. They will happen periodically during the semester. I will give you plenty of time to notice when we are going to have them. It really is, as I read people's responses to assignment number 1, 2, and 3, I'll use that as a judgment if we need some practice in terms of getting the information. The idea or the intent behind the self-assessment quizzes, or assignment number 4, is to make it so that when it comes time for our midterm, which is assignment number 6, and ultimately assignment number 7, the final exam, that you're prepared, that you know the kind of information that I'm looking for. Assignment number 6, and assignment number 7, the midterm and the final exam, will be open book and open resource. Typically you will have 2 to 3 days. I will give you a heads up when they're going to be posted. The midterm, will take place right around the 8th week of class. The final exam, of course, will take place during final exam week on the day that our final exam is scheduled. I will give you, as I mentioned, typically 3 days to do the exams, the midterm and the exam. They're open book and open resource, so you can go back and look at all the readings, you can look at all the PowerPoint, you have access to all of that information. When I post those exams will, you have access to them for the 42 or 48 or 72 hours that the exam would be available. Unlike you may have experienced with some Blackboard exams, these don't open and close in 30 minutes or 45 minutes. There's not a time limit for your answering them. Once you take those, which everybody has taken those, then I go back and look through them to make sure that they're answered correctly. Now, one of the downsides of Blackboard is that in exams like midterms and final exams, Blackboard doesn't take into account perhaps misspellings. They don't take into account if you answer in singular and it's plural, or plural and it's singular, whatever it might be, or you have an uppercase and it should be lowercase. So what I do is I go back and I allow for the type of variation and don't hold you responsible for trying to anticipate what Blackboard is expecting, either single or plural, or upper or lower case in terms of your answers. So we will correct for those. Those will serve as those grade points. Those are pretty much straightforward. In terms of how I grade for assignment 1, assignment 2, and assignment 3. They're graded first on promptness. Are they submitted by the due date? If they're submitted by the due date, and then the second criteria that I'm looking for is, are they complete and thorough? If they're complete and thorough, and they're submitted on time, then you get full credit and no points are deducted. If they're submitted late and or they're not complete, then points are deducted. If I have a question at all and think you could answer it, add additional points to it, I may ask you to fill it out and provide more. If you need to resubmit, then you need to let me know, and what I can do at that point is open up that assignment 1, 2, or 3 so that you can resubmit or do a subsequent submission. Unless you ask me specifically for feedback on your writing, particularly with respect to assignment 1, I'm tend not to provide direct feedback to you in terms of your writing, because what I do is I look at assignment number 1 for all the members of our class and use that as information in terms of figuring out what I need to best provide a lecture for. And so that serves as most an aggregate for what I'm looking for in terms of what information I need to either clarify, information everybody seems to be having, so I don't need to cover that type of information. Again, assignment 1, 2, and 3 are very solely on promptness, submitted by the due date, and completeness of the answer. I'm not looking for a correct answer. I'm not looking for agreement or disagreement with me. I'm not looking for something in particular other than a thought out, well responded, one for assignment number 1, evaluation and assessment of the readings and or videos that may be assigned for assignment number 1, and a well reasoned and well thought out response to assignment number 2, which is the IGQ, and then a well reasoned and thought out response for assignment number 3, which is your response to your group mates. That serves as the basis for the grading. So again, if you provide submission on time, thorough and complete, then you'll get full credit for those. So you're in total control of that. As I mentioned, in terms of the assignment number 4, which is the self-assessment quizzes, those are not graded on correct or incorrect. Those really are your way of kind of judging yourself and following yourself. They are graded on whether you complete them and take the exam by the assigned due date, which is when I assign them, they'll be on Friday of the week of assigned reading. So as example again, for assignment number 5, if we had a quiz this week, it would be over Cohen chapter 9 and 10, and that would be due on Friday at 5 p.m. I would post it on Wednesday, so you'd have several days to be able to take the exam and post it. again, open book and open resource. I hope that provides a little bit of clarification in terms of where we're going from here, and an explanation in terms of why week 1 and week 2 are a little fuzzy in terms of those assignments not being due, particularly assignment 1 not being due on the Sunday at 5 o'clock, because it just didn't seem fair to you. Our class for session 1 did not begin until Tuesday, so that was not going to be fair to expect you to have read something and posted it prior to our class starting. And then for session 2, as I mentioned, there were several people who are still waiting on their text. If you're still having problems Tuesday or Wednesday of this next week in terms of your text, please let me know, because following session 2, I will start grading stuff in terms of submission on time, and in order to submit your review, of course, you have to have the read. Now, again, with read for next week, for our session number 3, those are all available now, linked by a URL. So your reading for the Cohen text really become important for session 4, which is September 24th. That's the Cohen reading, and that's on the immunity. So if you're still waiting for your text this week, don't worry a whole lot, but you need to have it in order of being able to respond to assessment or assignment number 1 for the session number 4. Please let me know if you have any questions. I hope this provides an explanation in terms of why it's a little fuzzy about due dates for session 1 and 2. Again, it also takes us a little bit of time to get our feet under us as it were in terms of starting out a new semester and moving from there. Okay, talk to you soon. Please let me know if you have any questions. If you want to meet with me in my office to discuss our class, I'm more than happy to do that. If you would like to have a telephone call, we can do that as well. Or we could arrange to have a video conference. I'll be more than happy to talk with you. Video conference, we can do that in the evening, we can do that on the weekend, whatever works with your schedule and my schedule. Take care now. Talk to you soon.